Hey everyone, so I've been daily driving the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 for just about a month now, and I have a lot of thoughts on this thing, so let's get into it. So I was previously daily driving the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, which was an absolute beast and a top tier flagship. So naturally I was a little bit nervous moving on to this one because you're pretty much spending twice the price and you're getting a few more compromises. But after spending a lot of time with the Z Fold 7, it's actually making sense now. So I watched the launch video and everything, and they talked about how slim this thing is, but it's a whole different story when you're actually holding it in your hand. I mean, when this phone is opened up, the USB-C port is as thick as the actual frame of the phone, which is insane. And what actually really sold me on this phone is the fact that the outer display was now a much more usable size. I still prefer the screen size on the S25 Ultra generally, but this doesn't feel like a compromise anymore and it's been perfectly fine on the daily. So one thing I did miss was the in-screen fingerprint sensor on the S25 Ultra. On the Z Fold 7 over here, you've got the fingerprint sensor and the power button on the side. And I just feel that because it's so slim and pushed back a little bit, it was a little bit harder to sort of use in the beginning. But then obviously after a few days you sort of get used to it and it's been working perfectly fine. Now design-wise, yes, they got it very slim, which is super impressive. But at the same time, they removed the digitizer from the Z Fold 7, so that means you can no longer use an S Pen with it, which is a little bit of a bummer. I'm secretly hoping that Samsung does bring it back in the future. So in the meantime, it's back to drawing and signing with the finger. So in terms of the speaker quality, it's decent. They've done as much as they can with such a slim form factor, but they don't sound as good as the ones on the S25 Ultra. So while we're on the topic of design, you can't ignore this absolute massive camera bump over here on the side. Definitely when you're placing this on the table, it rocks like crazy. So now let's talk about this big inner screen, because that's probably the reason you bought this Z Fold 7. So it's a huge 8-inch AMOLED panel with 120Hz refresh rate, and it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, the colors are poppy, it's super sharp, it's super responsive. I mean, it's a Samsung panel, these guys really know what they're doing with these things. So in terms of the crease when the phone is open, yeah, it is still visible, it is still there. But honestly, in my day-to-day use when you're playing games or watching movies or anything else, you really can't notice it, and it's not a distraction at all in my opinion. So both the outside screen and inside screen got plenty bright in the direct sunlight, so they were perfectly fine to use outdoors. And if you want to use your phone in the dark or very low light, then the extra dim feature was super handy and I use it quite often, and it's just nice and easy on your eyes in low light situations. So one thing I did miss from the S25 Ultra was that absolutely amazing anti-reflective display. And on this one, you don't get that, but I did apply anti-reflective display screen film from Samsung onto the outer screen, which does help a little bit, which is fine. But again, on the inside screen, there's nothing like that. It is a bit glossy and shiny, but that S25 Ultra did spoil me quite a bit. So while that was all high praise for the design and build, I can't quite say the same for the battery life of the Z Fold 7. So it packs a 4400 mAh battery, and it's not huge considering the fact that a lot of the Chinese competition pack in even bigger battery cells with the same sort of form factor. So with my work and everything else, I'm a pretty heavy user and the phone hasn't got me through a day yet. And when it comes to charging the phone, that's an area I was a little bit bummed out by as well. So I got really spoiled with the OnePlus 13 with its 100-watt fast charging, and then I moved to the S25 Ultra, and that felt like a downgrade because 45-watt fast charging, yeah, good enough but not great. Then I get the Z Fold 7 and I realize it's 25 watts still. So it takes me a good hour and a half to get this thing fully charged. Not the greatest, and honestly I think they really need to step up on the charging game. So yeah, like I said, I'm a heavy user of the phone. I'm always using the cameras, I'm editing on the phone, doing a lot of my work, socials, and a lot of other things as well. If there's someone who wants to use it a bit more light to medium sort of use, then you will probably get it through the day, but not with much left in the tank at the end of it. So to squeeze out a little bit more battery life, you could turn on the light performance profile mode and turn off the AOD. And this should squeeze out a couple more hours of usage on the phone. So yeah, battery life is just okay. Charging speeds, nowhere close to what they should be for 2025. So Samsung, I really hope you step up in 2026. And yeah, if you're a super heavy user, keep a power bank spare and you'll be okay. So in terms of what's powering the phone, it's rocking the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, which is an absolute performance machine, and it's paired with 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, performance for the most part has been fantastic. I've not had any issues whatsoever, gaming, editing, general browsing and stuff. You do get the occasional lag sometimes when you're in a very hot environment, but again, that's pretty much regular for most other phones as well. So one thing that really pushed me towards the Z Fold 7 is the software. I absolutely love One UI, and honestly, it's been one of my favorite skins as of the last few years, and Samsung have done a great job with it. One UI 8 on the Z Fold 7 is absolutely amazing, and it's been optimized really well for the foldable experience as well. It's super feature-packed, it's got everything thrown in, and the customization options are absolutely incredible. And customization gets way better now because I've actually made Good Lock available in a lot more regions, so that's amazing. You can download all the different Good Lock apps and actually tweak your phone to your heart's delight. And it really gives you a chance to make your phone your own and make it super unique, so I'm a huge fan of that. So obviously the main reason you probably bought the Z Fold 7 is for that big screen inside and the multitasking as well. So in my personal use case, I'm never really running more than 2 apps side by side. But if you're hardcore and you need to run all those extra apps, then sure, you can have 3 apps on your screen plus a 4th one on the floating window. So there's a lot of choices for multitasking. And actually accessing the multitasking is super easy on this phone. There's a variety of gestures you can use to activate it as well. And I usually just keep this sort of floating pill on the top over here because I find it easier to just get into it. And one of the multitasking features I actually really like is this whole 90-10 sort of split they've done over here. Very similar to what OnePlus is doing on their open canvas, so I'm glad it sort of made its way here. And what's cool is that you can actually save your multitasking configurations, so if you need to access those specific set of apps later on, you can easily pin it to your taskbar and use it later, which is great. Flex mode on the phone also works pretty well. I don't use it that often, mostly just for a bit of YouTube or Spotify, but it's a cool feature to have for sure. I mean, you can literally turn this phone into a mini laptop with flex mode if you really want to, where the bottom screen can be used as a trackpad or you can switch it to a keyboard, so if that's a good use case for you, then make the most of it. And yeah, most of the apps look pretty good on the bigger screen, although there are some apps that are not fully optimized for it yet, so I find that sometimes changing the aspect ratio in the settings can help with that quite a bit. Samsung DeX is still pretty cool and it's nice to have in the phone. I personally don't use it that much, but I can see a lot of people would have a lot of good use for it, so if you're one of those, then enjoy it. And while we're on the topic of software, you know that Samsung absolutely go heavy with all of their AI features, so there's absolutely no lack of any of that on this phone. So gaming on this phone has been an absolute delight. I mean, you pair it with a Snapdragon 8 Elite, all that RAM and this big canvas, you are in gaming heaven over here. And because the phone is so thin and light, it's super comfortable to use when gaming. And yeah, if you're going to go really hard on the games, then the phone will get a little bit warm, but nothing crazy uncomfortable or anything. So overall, I'm super happy with the software on this thing. One UI 8 just looks good, it feels so refined, and it's a beautiful experience on this phone. And the good part is that you're actually going to get 7 years of OS updates, which is awesome. So now let's talk about the cameras a little bit. This was one area I was a little bit nervous moving from the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra over to the Z Fold 7. And after using this thing for about a month, I can say it's a pretty solid camera system and I've been quite happy with it. So what I was really happy about is that they use the same or similar 200 megapixel main camera on the S25 Ultra on the Z Fold 7. Pictures from the main camera are super detailed, sharp, and I really like the look of the photos on this thing. So in terms of telephoto capabilities, it's still using that old 3x 10 megapixel camera, which is fine. It does need a bit of an upgrade next year, I think, but personally, photos from it have been good details, good color, and I use it quite a bit for all of my portrait photography. The 12 megapixel ultra wide is also quite decent. I wish they did include the 50 megapixel ultra wide they had in the S25 Ultra, but if you really don't want to blow up pictures or print and, enlarge them, then this one is absolutely fine, and I've taken some really nice shots with it. So I quite missed the 5x lens in the S25 Ultra because I used to use that for a lot of portrait photography and it took some absolute banger shots. And obviously the zoom capabilities are a lot better on the S25 Ultra, but then again it got me asking the question as to what is the max sort of zoom range that people will actually go to for posting on their socials or actually having usable footage. Usually for me, I'll use a 0.6 ultra wide all the way up to like say 5. I've taken pictures on the S25 Ultra and the Z Fold at 10x, but I just really don't like the processing and it's never really something I would post up to my socials or, send to family and stuff. So moving on to video, I was actually quite happy with the overall video experience on this phone. I got some really good footage from the main camera, and even the footage from the ultra wide and the 3x lens was quite decent. Switching between the lenses while videoing was also quite decent, and honestly the stabilization was really good too, I thought. So I was quite happy that the phone actually had the 4K 120 FPS recording mode, so I've had a lot of fun recording slow motions with the kids, which is great. So now moving on to the inner display, you've now got an upgraded 10 megapixel punch-hole camera, which I think is an upgrade over the in-display camera from last year's Z Fold 6. I've seen a lot of people complaining about how the punch-hole camera on the inside screen gets in the way of all their videos and everything, but honestly, it's minor and I don't think it's a huge deal. I'm just happy you get a better camera on the inside. So on the cover display in the front, you get another 10 megapixel camera, which again is perfectly fine for all your selfies and video calling and all that. But the reason you have a foldable now is that you actually get to take high quality selfies using the back cameras. And honestly, after getting this phone, I think that about 90% of all of my selfies have been taken with the main cameras at the back, which is just so nice. So overall, I think it's a pretty solid camera system, and I think for most day-to-day users and actually some power users as well, the camera system on this thing will be perfectly fine for you. So in terms of durability and how I've been using this thing, I've tried not to baby it around too much in my day-to-day use, although I did take it to the coast, and there I did baby it a little bit, and I think I did feel like I wish I had my S25 Ultra at that point. Obviously, sand and water and foldable phones are probably not a great combination, but it survived perfectly fine. And there was no cracks or crunching in the hinge, which is good. And Samsung said this is rated for 500,000 folds, so hopefully it is a bit more durable. And to be fair, I was a little bit more confident in buying this phone because after I saw what Zach from Jerry Rig Everything did to the phone, I mean, he really put it through its paces with the bend test and all that sand and everything else. And the phone actually held up, so if that means something, then yeah, this thing is built pretty well and should withstand a bit of a beating. So what are my final thoughts on the Z Fold 7? It's a brilliant device and I actually really enjoy using it. And I probably will daily drive it for quite a while. Is it the phone for most people though? Definitely not. It's crazy expensive. And obviously there's quite a few compromises compared to a phone like the S25 Ultra, which I would probably recommend to more people because it's like half the price. You got a better set of cameras, bigger battery, better battery life, and faster charging as well. So if you like bleeding edge tech, you need that big screen for multitasking, and you don't mind spending a silly amount of money, then the Z Fold 7 is an absolutely awesome option and I've really enjoyed this thing. Thank you so much for watching everyone, and if you liked the video, please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.